Chapter 6. Uncle Chuck was up early, working in his lab. He had many inventions he wanted to finish and did not want to put them off any longer. He finished one very important invention last night and was currently working on another. He was so involved in his work, he did not know his Antoine stroll in. Bonjour, Uncle Chuck. It is, how do you say, a beautiful morning, n'est-ce pas? Said Antoine, gazing out a giant polarized window. Him? Asked Uncle Chuck. He turned around. Oh, Antoine, sorry, didn't hear you come in. Yes, it is. Antoine casually walked around the room. You have been looking very strong on your inventions lately, no? Is it the time for the break? He passed the monster's look piece of machinery. It was black and over 9 feet high. Oh, crap, it's a guardian from Starfall Islands, isn't it? He had no idea what it was and didn't ask. Uncle Chuck regarded Antoine. You like it? He grinned. Oh, really, I thought, what is it? Antoine asked, shrugging. Uncle Chuck glad. It's my new invention, a police control satellite. Antoine looked at the machine again. Ah, very good. It did launch the satellite into low orbit, remember, because it should be able to neutralize some of the poisonous gases in the upper atmosphere and allow the ozone layer to regenerate. That's the theory, said Uncle Chuck. Suddenly, an alarm rang out on one of the computer consoles. The two stared at each other, then ran for the computer. Uncle Chuck reached it first and flicked on some switches. This is Castle Control. What's wrong? He said into the omnidirectional microphone. The screen showed up to show an army of the Mobian army, who were now stationed at Knothole. When the previous villagers left to live in the city, sadly he decreed the army live there to guard the power ring pool. This is Captain Leonid of the Mobian Army Force. We received a distress call from the village just north of here. They say they were attacked by robots! His feline face shut down. I wanted to coordinate with you before I sent it to somebody to look at this. Uncle Chuck nodded at the screen. Alright, take into it. Just report back, but do not send in your entire force. Just use a few scouts. No need to leave Knothole undefended, he said. In Knothole, Captain Leonid had heard different instructions. Alright, check into it, and report back. And check into it, and report back. Use your entire force, said the voice of Uncle Chuck. They saw Leonid nod. Understood, sir. Knothole out. The screen went dark. Uncle Chuck turned to Antoine. That was certainly strange. First time I've seen that happen, he mused. What happened? The guard. It's the first time the army has called us on something as trivial as a robot saying. He said, hands on his chin. Maybe there's just none of us, said Antoine. Uncle Chuck shook his head. Maybe. A mechanic's ship, Fulpa and his master, stood behind Hardcore and watched him. He manipulated the data streams of communications between the army captain and Uncle Chuck, changing, deleting, and adding data where necessary to confuse the transmission. The silver android looked up at mechanics as if waiting for some kind of praise. His other lieutenant, Vulpa, a half-wolf, half-mechanical being, looked on. Vulpa's left side was organic, while his right side was gleaming metal, all due to horrific accidents suffered years ago. Mechanics stood behind the two, surrounded by his impenetrable cloaks. Excellent, rasped Mechanics. The trap has been set. Vulpa, initiate phase 1 of my plan. Vulpa turned to Mechanics and saluted him, his hands thumping to his chest. Yes, my lord, it shall be done. He boomed in a loud voice, turned and signed up the bridge. Soon after, several small silver ships took off from the mothership, hurrying to the forest. We receive flammable data from Vulpa. You shall initiate phase 2, said Mechanics, looking down at his metal minion. Yes, sir, he said in a light mechanical voice. Mechanics clenched his fist. It has begun. The Mega Power Ring will be mine. You know, it's hard to take this seriously when you're using a term like Mega Power Ring. Just saying. Vulpa's group of silver ships looped well over the forest, blasting it with their lasers. The target was a small village just far away from Knothole to cause a diversion. They landed in their ships and emerged, a dozen omnibots of Vulpa. His booming voice sounded like a microphone. Secure the village and remember the plan! he said, gesturing with a mechanical hand. His bots fanned out and began firing on the huts. The villagers panicked, trying to escape. Fulfa's mechanical ear twitched. He could hear the approach of the army at a distance. He turned to his troops. "Army of Prussians!" he bellowed in a raspy, booming voice. The bots turned their attentions onto the Mobian army, who had just broken through the village perimeter. Captain Leonid led the way in his air car. Several dozen troops and transports followed him. Soldiers disembarked, and on Leonid's order began attacking the bots. Small arms laser fire mixed in with the bots' rifles, and soon the air was filled with the smell and crackle of ozone. Fulpa contacted mechanics. "Lord Mechanics! The army has been engaged! Proceed with phase 2! He yelled over the sound of firing rifles. Mechanic's voice sounded over his wrist communicator. "Excellent, Fulpa! We have defeated the pitiful creatures! Join us at the castle!" "Yes, my lord!" said Fulpa, signing off. Poisoned by his master's confidence in him, Fulpa urged his forces on. "Destroy them! Leave no creature standing!" "This guy's officially voiced by Brian Blessed. Don't stop me," he yelled, firing his own rifle. Mechanics turned to his mechanical minion standing beside him. "It's time for you to proceed with phase 2! He pointed at Hardcore, who bowed low. "Yes, Lord," he said in a soft mechanical voice. "However, logically judging the battle that Fulpa is engaged in, I can estimate there's a 67% chance that he will be defeated." Mechanics waved the comment away. "No matter, but my plan will fail even without Fulpa. He is expendable." As I am, Lord," asked Hardcore. "Everyone is expendable as long as I attain the main goal," rasped Mechanics, turning away. "Now, go!" Hardcore bowed again and left, pondering Mechanics' statement in his mechanical brain. Captain Leon had seen the renewed confidence in the attacking robots, and ordered his troops to a full frontal attack. As heavily armed as the robots were, they had no real battle tactics, and Leonid's forces were actually repelling the tall bots. A corporal ran up to Leonid. "Sir," he panted, "the robot forces have been diminished significantly. Only a few remain, plus the leader." Captain Leonid nodded. "Where are you now?" he asked. The corporal handed Leonid a pair of macro binoculars. "Over in that clearing, sir, standing back to back." Leonid looked. Sure enough, Fulpa and 4 of his bots were all that's left. Suddenly, Leonid saw a very strange sight, one that would cause him to think for months. Fulpa stood with his bots in the clearing. They were cut off from their ships and could not escape. It never occurred to him that he could lose, yet only he and his 4 Omnibots remained. He growled low, about to issue a command, when suddenly he felt more than a blur. Saw a blur to his right. He shifted over, and the Omnibot to his right fell. A huge gas ant, now smoking chest. Another blur, and the bot to his left fell, without even giving him a shot. Then the bot behind Fulpa was destroyed. Its pieces clattering on the grass, and only Fulpa remained. He let go when he saw the blurs destroy the bots. The corporal behind him said, "Sir, we send in the remainder of our forces, sir." Leonid shook his head. "No, have the troops initiate cleanup, retrieval of the villagers, and any not wounded." The corporal nodded and left. Leonid continued to stare through the binoculars. Fulpa squared off against the black hedgehog. Black hedgehog? Shadow! You're here! Of course I'm here. You already mentioned that I'm your second favorite character in this franchise. I know, I just can't believe you're going to show up! In a fic that was made in probably the 1990s, years before Sonic Adventure 2 came out. This isn't gonna be Shadow, is it? No, it's not. Still, would you like to do the voice acting for this? You know it. Fulpa scared off against the black hedgehog, who smiled at him casually. You ready to give up yet? He asked, folding his arm. Are we sure this is not Shadow? Trixie looked ahead. It's not Shadow. Who are you? About to move so fast! Fulva growled. He held up his rifle. I'm Scorched Hedgehog, pal. And if you think you're going to shoot me with that, you're a bit mistaken, he said, pointing at the rifle. You're not faster than a laser beam, said Fulva, raising the rifle higher. Scorched laughed. We'll see. Fulva frowned, pointing down his rifle. His great trigger, a lethal beam of laser light spewed forth and hit the dirt. Scorched had already jumped up and was doing a spin into the rifle, shattering it into Fulva's arm and into Fulva's chest and through. Scorched landed on his feet behind Fulva as he convulsed and collapsed into a pile. I told you, he said as he rocketed back into the forest. This before his computer brain ceased to operate. Fulva wondered how he could have been such a fool. Aboard his ship, Mechanic roared in rage, having seen everything on the monitor. That fool! He rumbled. He pressed his communicator. Hardcore! Benzines and plants! Get me a power ring! This time we'll destroy the mammal creatures! Hardcore replied back in a soft voice. Understood, sir. He clicked off. Sally blinked sleepily in the morning sun. She untangled herself from Sonic's arms and legs and sat up. Nice! She smiled at Sonic, thinking about their previous night. Woo! She removed the sheets from her and smoothed her fur down as the sunlight glinted off her golden brown fur. Her body fur was still mad with sweat, so she hopped off and took a quick shower. She emerged, dried off, and slipped her vest and boots on. I'm so glad I get a new shower scene and not have to feel guilty about it. She sat at a night table, brushed her hair, humming softly to herself. The communicator beside the bed chimed softly. Sally finished her brushing, padded quietly over next to it, and pressed the button. Yes, Uncle Chuck, she asked, whispering quietly to Uncle Chuck's face, with back her. Sorry to disturb you, Sally, but we have a problem. Sally frowned. Problem? What type of problem? You better get to the lab, Sally, said Uncle Chuck after a few seconds. All right, I'm on my way, said Sally, turning off the monitor and trotting out the room. I came as fast as I could. What's wrong? She asked, brushing her hair from her eyes. Uncle Chuck turned to her. Nothing is under attack, he said. Several small ships appeared over the village and started firing at it. Soon after that, several dozen robots emerged from these ships to initiate ground combat. Here, look at this. He replayed a tape made by the Knothole surveillance cameras. He saw 6 silver ships swooping in over the village, firing down deadly lasers at the buildings, destroying them. Then the ships landed. Tall silver robots emerged, firing laser rifles. Where's the army? Asked Sally. I don't know. We received a call earlier from the base commander about robots attacking over there. I told him not to send his entire force, and he agreed. He shook his head. I don't know what's going on over there. I can't raise anybody. Why would the base commander be calling us over something like that? We have no direct jurisdiction over them, wondered Sally. I thought the same thing myself. It must have been a fate. The real attack was on Knothole. We were led to believe otherwise. Sally's eyes grew wide. But who? Who would be attacking us? It was robots yet. Robotnik? Asked Antoine, his knees suddenly shaking at a cold thought. Sally shook her head. No, Robotnik is still trapped in the void for a long, long time. Antoine wiped the sudden sweat off his brow. Yeah, good, he breathed. But if it's not Robotnik, then who? The Metarax, Black Arms, the End, Dark Gaia, asked Sally. Uncle Chuck pressed more buttons on his keyboard. More important thing now is to protect Knothole. We have to assume they're here to damage or destroy the powering pool. It's only a valuable thing in Knothole. We have to get an attack force there immediately. What does the next powering do? Asked Sally. According to the computer, 30 minutes, said Uncle Chuck, turning to her. Sally pulled out Nicole, her small handheld computer. Nicole, can we transport an attack force from here to Knothole in less than 30 minutes? She asked. The lights on Nicole's face blinked. Negative, Sally. It would take over 2 hours to get ready and transport such a force to Knothole. Although, there is another option. Uncle Chuck, Antoine, and Sally all looked at each other and blurted out the answer. Sonic! The sun shone brightly through the windows of the castle, illuminating the form of the still sleeping hedgehog. He rolled over his side and put his arm out, fully expecting to feel Sally's warm body beside him. But instead, he felt the coolness of bed sheets. He opened his eyes sleepily and squinted. Sure enough, Sally was up already. He put his arms across his eyes and fully intended to get back to sleep when Sally burst into the room, computer Nicole in her hand. Sonic, get up! We have a problem! Sonic raised his head and blinked sleepily. What? The hull's under attack by robots, Sonic! He said, straining to pull him out of bed. Robots? Asked Sonic sleepily. He sank back to his pillow. Sally stamped her foot. Sonic, get up! You have to save the powering pool! Sonic bolted out of bed. The powering pool? Why didn't you say so? He ran over to his shoes and picked them up. Oh, men! Look at these things, they're ruined! He moaned. The shoes were now sloppy red messes. The seawater had eaten away over the material overnight, and now were mangled. I can't run in my bare feet. I got no other pair of sneaks, he said, slipping the shoes on. His toe squished inside. Yuck! Okay, Sal, come on! He grabbed her by the arm and walked out of the bedroom, down the hall to Uncle Chuck's lab. Uncle Chuck and Antoine met them. Sonic, you gotta get to that hood right away, said Uncle Chuck. He strapped a small device on his arm. What's this? Looks like a watch, asked Sonic, holding up his arm. Uncle Chuck pointed at the device. This is a communicator, Sonic. Press it once to talk and once again to turn it off. It'll allow you to keep in contact with us. We need to know who it is that's taking that hull. No problem, I got a motor. Later! He revved up and stormed down the hallway, leaving the three others to grab something to avoid being blown away. Uncle Chuck turned to the monitors. I can monitor the airspace from here, Sally. And you can touch the Sonic for that terminal over there. He pointed to the left. Sally sat down in a small chair, put on the headset she found. I'm guessing that Sonic was able to find an old pair of soap shoes. Seriously, why do you guys are so fascinated by that from Sonic Adventure 2? Sonic was almost to the main doors when he passed by something golden brown. He screeched to a halt and grabbed Tails by the arm. Come on, little bro, I need your help! He raced off again, pulling the confused fox behind him. Sonic raced through the forest at super speed, not wasting a second. Fortunately, his shoes slowed him down a bit. He had to stop several times to adjust them. They would bind to his toes or his ankle. Soon he could see a pillar of smoke rising above the trees where Knothole was. He took off again. He cleared the trees and beheld the village. Several tall, silver-colored robots were busy setting fire to the huts. Robots that looked vaguely like the old SWAT-bots Robotnik used. Although these were bigger, and had metallic-like skull heads with burning red eyes. The robots were bipedal with 2 arms, each carrying a laser-like weapon which fired incredible energy. There were several wounded soldiers on the ground, but no fatalities Sonic could see. To go all this in a second, they ducked behind a tree and activated his communicator. Sonic to Sally. There were a bunch of dopey-looking robots laying waste to the village. I don't think you know about the pool, he whispered to the built-in microphone. The reply was instantaneous. Nevertheless, the protection of the pool is our #1 priority, Sonic. You have 20 minutes before a ring materializes, said Sally. Gotcha! Those bots won't know where to hit 'em. Out! He pressed the SWATs again, letting the lead dean. He turned to Tails. You know the plan, big guy? He asked. Tails gave him a thumbs up. Let's do it to it, Sonic! He rotated his twin tails and soared above the trees, leaving Sonic on the ground. He stepped around the tree and slid down a path towards the ring pool. Unfortunately, several dozen bots and a larger one were already there, watching intently. Cursing, he swooped down to the pool level. Hey, bolt brains! What do you think you're doing? He asked, pointing at him. The robots, taken by surprise, all turned at once to regard the intruder. Several laser rifles came to bear on him. Destroy the intruder! The tall one said simply, in a soft metallic voice. Several guns fired, all missing the speedy Hedgehog. You know, I miss the loud guy. I really do. He slipped in and out of the line of fire, jumping it and kicking several bots over. Tails flew overhead, dropping large rocks on the bots' heads, putting them out of commission. Sonic came to face with the lead robot. Impressive mammal creature, but I believe you're outcast here, said the robot. Sonic folded his arms. Obviously, you're not an ordinary robot, so I give you 2 seconds of my time. Who are you, and what do you want? The robot made a metallic smirking noise. I am Hardcore, 2nd Lieutenant of Moon Mechanics. I am here to procure a power ring specimen for my master. In your dreams, pal, said Sonic, tightening up his stance. Hardcore shook his metal head. I am not Dream, and your logic is improper. You are aware that you're surrounded by several of my Omnibots, don't you? He pointed behind Sonic, who slowly turned around. He and the pool were flanked by many Omnibots, who stood on the banks, all laser rifles pointing at him. He turned back to Hardcore. I'm faster than any laser, pal. I'll get to you before they get to me, he said, clenching his fist. Maybe so. That was the intention, said Hardcore, igniting his jetpack and soaring straight up. The bots immediately opened fire on Sonic, who dodged the bolts. Excellent. The Omnibots will keep the mammal creature busy until the ring amuses from the poor. Hardcore said, looking at his risky barometer. Exactly 6.2 minutes from now. Sonic weeded out the robots, trying to attack them or make them fire on themselves. They are smarter and tougher than the bots he was used to fighting. And soon was wondering if he was indeed that class. He fought on, though, determined to come out on top. 3 minutes exactly. Tails came, said Hardcore in a soft voice. Tails came in for a power dive, his left fist in front of him, directly aimed at Hardcore. But the android spotted him and backhanded the fox away. Tails fled to a tree, dazed. Sonic looked up to see Hardcore hovering overhead. He wondered why. Then it hit him. The bots were a diversion to keep him busy while that pile of bolts made off with the ring. Sonic was determined not to let that happen. He went into a sonic spin and knocked several of the bots into the pool, but more and more kept coming. Sonic was again surrounded by his Omnibots. He stood his ground, peering into the small light skull faces of the bots. A few miles away, an overjoyed mechanic watched the fight on screen. Excellent! The time has come! The ring will appear, and with it, I will use it against the monarchy and conquer this planet! He slammed his metal fist into the armrest of his chair. Hell Control! It's time we introduce ourselves! Raise this ship from the ground immediately! He barked. The massive ship shivered as power was fed into its engines, rose out of the ground slowly, displacing hundreds of tons of dirt and debris, till finally it was free. It was circular, almost a mile in diameter, and black metal soared the sun's rays, making it look like a shadow. Black arms? The massive engines roared, heating up the sky, vaporizing low-flying clouds. Massive laser supports extruded from the skin of the ship like pointing fingers. The ship shuddered and lumbered forward, its engines roaring across the forest. So wait. Let's try so you see the recap here. Right, because we need a recap right now. So far, we've had the Metallics, check. We've had Black Arms, check. We've had Shadow, check. So, in partially the Metarex, correct. Is this author just pointing out the future of the Sonic franchise as we know it? I don't know, but if any of these if any aliens that are actually look like Chaos's twin brothers pop up, I'm out. As you can see, Mammal Creature, you have been beaten, said Hardcore, looking at his wrist. As he did so, he almost missed an incredible sight. The robots of Sonic were demolished by a black blur, and another figure he couldn't make out. The creature was still standing in the center, looking confused as the robots continued to be destroyed. Sonic couldn't believe it either. The black blur buzzsawed its way past and through many of the robots, totally demolishing and knocking them into the pool. Another figure moved in quickly as well, a long sword slashing away at the bots. Soon, all the bots around Sonic had been cleared away, and Sonic came to face with someone he thought he'd never see again. Scorch? Wait, does Sonic know this guy? But that would imply that there were other fics in this continuity. Well, I did look at his author page while you were talking, Trixie, and he does have 2 other stories on here. One called Metal Sonic, that's a rewrite of the Doomsday Project, and then Hedgehog, which is where this guy was introduced. So we're dealing with an OC that was introduced later on. Yeah, I had no idea about this. But it's still interesting that we've got a clone of Sonic who's a black hedgehog made by a Robotnik in 96. 6 years before Sonic Adventure 2. I have questions. Scorch was Sonic's imperfect clone, created 10 years ago by Dr. Robotnik in a bid to destroy the Freedom Fires. Scorch had shaken off his programming and helped Sonic rescue his friends in the end. He was jet black, with flesh-colored arms and legs, and wore similar sneakers to Sonic's. Was his sneakers also kind of like jet boosters, and did he also have little red quills and a little white poof? Asking for a friend. He was also as fast as Sonic. He was able to use power rings as well. Scorch smiled at his brother. Hello, Sonic. It's been a long time. The female deer Scorch was also with smiled. Indeed. Do you remember me, Ami Shobe? Okay, that Shobe is a combination of Japanese words, and I feel like if I actually took time, I could probably study it. Sonic nodded. You almost took my head off the last time we fought, he said, remembering back to the night in question. Ami Shobe, daughter of the late Governor Akshobe of the Southern Province, had been captured by Robotnik and been enslaved to follow his bidding. Thanks to Scorch, his power over her had been broken. She stood taller than him, older, her hair still black, and her fur was still light as brown-gray. She wore a red sleeveless t-shirt, knee-high blue skirt, and red sneakers. She wore a necklace with an odd jewel in it, was held the battle computer and Amy's sword, partially control her movements. Her sword was holstered across her back in a sheath. Oh my god, this deer is fucking awesome! You see, Dorkly, this is what real Sonic OCs are like. They're not just all, oh, we're doing MPreg, or, oh, we're doing inflation. And it's not just all Sonic's birth family, blah, blah, blah. No. OCs are creative. There are plenty of people who could do some creative, interesting OCs. And I, for one, would love to show that off more often than the old tropes of, ha 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 ha, this is a bad done OC. Alright, down with that bad OCs! Up with good ones! Up with ones that are interesting! What? And yeah, I remind you people what this channel is all about and why we do mainly good fix. This is to stop that stigma. This is to illustrate the good fanfics out there and to highlight them. Even though I know you guys love it when I riff. I thought you all perished in the fire, he said, still unbelievably. Scorch shook his head. No, I was able to dig my way out. We both survived, as you could see. Suddenly, a long tongue of flame appeared overhead, and he had to duck. I'm sorry to interrupt this get-together, but you stand in the way of my procurement of a power ring for Lord Mechanics. Who? Asked Sonic. Scorch turned to Sonic. Mechanics is an alien from space. He was at the island of Mern before you came, and he trashed the place looking for... Enough! Barked the android. Mechanics approaches! He turned his head and regarded a growing black dot, and grew until he could see that it was a very large spacecraft. Below, the water in the pool started churning and frothing as a power ring generated, and behind him, a new crop of omnibus rushed him. They had to turn into a fight. We can't let him get that power ring! Yelled Sonic over the noise of the approaching spacecraft. Scorch shook his head. We'll have to dust these spots first, he also yelled. The engines roared, getting louder by the second. Sonic nodded and started his buzzsaw spinning, Scorch doing the same. They whipped around the bots, while Ami used her sword to finish the ones to arrest her. She flipped over the group and did a backslash swing that decapitated 3 of them. Oh my fucking god, I want to marry this deer. The pool started churning harder, and a whirlpool of water jumped up, throwing a power ring up with it. Hardcore jetted after it. No! Ami yelled, hurled her sword at the resting android, commented back, cutting through the jetpack and Sally's stomach. He halted momentarily and fell back to the ground, exploding when his damaged jetpack struck a soft rock. Metal pieces flew everywhere. The ring dropped to the ground, and Ami caught it. Yes! Cheered Scorch. That's my gal! Ami smiled, hefting the ring. Suddenly, her hands started tingling. She looked at the ring, watching it as it disappeared from her grasp. What the? Sonic said. A holographic image appeared in front of him. His cloak swirled around him, hiding his features from all who dared to look. I am Lord Mechanics, General of the Armies of Machina, Commander of the First Fleet, and Lord over the Realm. I thank you for the ring, Sonic Hedgehog, said the figure in a deep, rasping voice. Sonic turned to spin, spun right through the hollow, landing on the other side. This is a projection of my image to you from my ship. You cannot harm it, it said. Sonic frowned. So you're mechanics, huh? What do you want? Why, nothing more than to conquer this world, once and for all. That fool Robotnik obviously couldn't handle it, so I come to finish the job. Yeah, right. Robotnik was a chump and so are you. Mobius will never fall to anyone, especially an ugly creep like you, Sonic said, unaware that the massive ship was moving on. Mechanics growled low in his throat. You'll all pay for that comment, mammal! He held up the power ring. You see your precious ring? I can still utilize it for energy! His cloaks parted, showing the gleaming metal chest. A small part opened up, showing a lump of rock or something resting on a stand. Mechanics removed the rock and replaced it with the ring, close to port. I can use the energy the ring produces in my body! Observe! Mechanic raised a hand. A golden energy spawned from it, blurring one of his bridge robots. He raised his smoking hand to the cloak's face. I will use this energy to wipe out the monarchy and take over the world! Of course! Already, I'm underway to your castle, and when I'm there, I'll destroy it! The hollow disappeared, laughing echoing throughout the forest. That's mechanics, said Scorch. One bad Jew. Sonic raised his wrist. Sal, you heard? Yes, Sonic. Thanks for leaving your comm open. We're preparing a welcoming party for our guests. Better return soon. Came the electronic reply to Sally. Sonic jerked a thumb over his shoulder. I'll grab Tails. You guys choose for the castle. Scorch nodded and piked up Ami, his feet revving and took off. So, Ami, could you tell me more about that sword? Meanwhile, in another part of the castle, a very anxious hare sat on a cool bench in one of the hallways, trying not to fidget. She had dressed herself in a very nice, loose-fitting dress, and been sitting on the bench for the past few minutes waiting. I've waited 10 years, thought Bunny. Won't wait any longer. She was bound and determined to talk to Rotor. What is the deal with these Bunny and Rotor ships? This is not the only thing that has it. And tell him her pent-up feelings for him. She did not realize at the time that when Antoine left for his journey, just how much the coyote meant to her. It was only after he was gone did Bunny realize the pain in her heart was. There was still time to make things right, she thought. And this time she was going to tell him. She waited here in this hall by Antoine's room, too shy to knock on his door. Presently, Antoine emerged and walked towards her. Bunny stood up and waved over him. Antoine, over here! She said, face beaming. Antoine walked over to her. Bunny, what can I do for you? He asked, eyes focusing down the hallway. Could you sit here for a minute so I could talk to you? Asked Bunny, sitting and patting the bed next to her. Antoine frowned. I didn't really have the time. Bunny's ear twitched. Please? Antoine sighed and sat down beside her. Bunny looked away, shy at first, and then turned back. You just don't have it in your heart to actually rate this as Rotor, do you? Nope! Sorry, been a Antoine and Bunny shipper for far too long. It's sold into my head. I can't go any further. Nope. Sorry. I'm sorry, Fick. You're stuck with doing a Rotor and Bunny ship. An Antoine and Bunny ship. Do you remember 10 years ago when you first left? A little chocolate hand and all? She said, looking down at her hands. Yes, said Antoine, a bit impatiently. Bunny tried not to notice. Well, I was kind of thinking. She was stammering and grabbed his paw. She felt that it was ice cold. Bunny, I am admitted to this. What are you trying to tell me? Said Antoine, taking his paw back. Bunny raised her eyes to Antoine's face. She saw he was angry with her, caused her to stammer more frustration. Well, Antoine stood up quickly. I really have to go, Bunny, he said, striding away. Bunny looked up shocked. Aunt, can we talk later? I did it, he stated, disappearing around a corner. Bunny sat back on the bench, stunned, her face red and hot with embarrassment. Uncle Chuck whirled away from his computer console. Sally, you have to get the kids to a safe place immediately. Said, I'm on it, Sally nodded. She ran out the room, leaving Uncle Chuck and Antoine alone. It's ready to pass his guns for the attack, he said, turning back to his console. I'm going to raise the shields. He played with his hands across the keyboard as Antoine left the land. Attention, he said in a microphone that amplified throughout the castle, surrounding area around it. The pass shields will be raised in 30 seconds. Guards outside managed to guide the people inside to the castle grounds, with surprisingly very little effort. When Uncle Chuck, feeling the grounds via several monitor cameras, was satisfied everyone was away from the seal generators, activated the castle seal system. A series of yellow lights cycled up and outside. Waterfalls cascaded uneasily down the side stopped flowing, revealing large several plates around them. Unseen energy hummed through them, and on the computer board inside the lab, a computerized schematic of the castle showed on a small monitor. Satisfied, Uncle Chuck turned to another monitor. He never noticed a large shadow that crept up right behind him.